Hello, I'm Steph from iDriver Classic, and today's video is a wee bit different because we're not just focusing on cars, we are focusing on cars and vintage fashion under the umbrella of the best event of the year. It's Goodwood Revival, and if you're watching this on Saturday when I've put the video out, we are only 1 week away. Now, I wasn't going to do this video because I was a bit on the fence about whether some of you'd enjoy it, but so many of you have messaged me for vintage fashion tips, to ask what to wear. I'm panicking that you've got to spend hundreds of pounds to look great at Goodwood. But here's the thing, you don't have to do that at all. Today I'm going to be showing you only vintage clothing, really, and all the things I'm going to show you are from my own personal wardrobe. Some of them I've had quite a long time, but I'll tell you about it as we go. Anyway, I want to give you a fact before we start this, because if you take away nothing else from today's video, I would like you to take away this. If we didn't make any more clothing from today onwards, we have enough clothing already made on this planet to clothe the next 6 generations of people, which is crazy when you think about it, and it really makes you second guess buying those bits and pieces that you just kind of fancy on a whim. When I found that out, I just thought, goodness me, I've got to do everything I can to try and encourage everybody to start reusing some of their favourite bits and shopping in charity shops, because charity shops are full of really great things. Now, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you around the vintage element, but then I'm going to try and tell you how to translate it into more modern fashion if you're going down the charity shop and grabbing a few bits to go along with the theme. So first of all, we're going to start off with the secret to every vintage look, and that secret is the underwear. So let's kick off with some smalls. Okay, these are actually some of my bits and pieces here, but none of them are worn. They're all put by because I'm not quite small enough to fit into them yet. So chuck those down there and we'll come back to them. So first of all, let's talk about this. This is a new old stock St. Michael panty girdle. Now, you'll hear people talk about these and they'll talk about girdles, and this is what they're talking about. Now, as you can see, it's essentially a giant pair of Bridget Jones style knickers. But here's the thing, unlike Bridget Jones's knickers, which had a bit of stretch, these, apart from the waistband, don't have much at all. They really suck you in. And they were only £1.85 in the 1960s. And in the 1960s, Marks and Sparks, I think it was something like 1 in every £4 that was spent on underwear was spent in Marks and Spencer's. Now, I got that fact from going to visit their archives and reading about it. And I love St. Michael lingerie. It's my favourite. It's absolutely gorgeous and it washes up a treat. Some of my bits are so old, and ironically, they've lasted better than the modern Marks and Spencer's wear. Now, if you are wearing a panty girdle, the modern alternative is that Marks and Sparks do have modern shapewear. Now, if like me, you're sitting at home with a bit of a tummy and it makes you feel a bit like, oh, about your outfit, just go and grab a panty girdle. They are fantastic. Underwear is one of those things that's very subjective, and a lot of people like to buy new, but a lot of charity shops have that in as well if you're sticking to a budget. But what do you wear with your panty girdle? Well, this is, again, another St. Michael bra. Now, as you can see here, the cup shape for my ladies at home is very different to a modern cup. You don't have those foam inserts and you don't have any wiring. It's a lot freer than a lot of your modern stuff. But here's the thing, when you wear a vintage garment, it's cut with the old lingerie in mind. It's not cut with the modern circular foam cups. So going for something like this is a really great bet. Now, my 2 recommendations, if you want to go for something quick and easy that will give you that shape, is either Triumph Doreen, and they're so easy to find. You can find them in department stores, you can find them online, and you've also got the company called What Katie Did. However, What Katie Did doesn't run incredibly big, whereas your Triumph Doreen, which is a more classic bra with that cup silhouette, runs to a much bigger back size and a much bigger cup size. So for my larger ladies out there, that would be my top tip, and a Triumph Doreen is very comfortable. But say that's not enough. Say you want the ultimate big daddy. You've got a really tight dress coming on. What do you do? Well, this, my friends at home, is a full girdle. Now this, I tried to get on the other day and oh my goodness, it is so tight. I think the skin on an apple is probably looser than this. Look, barely stretches. And I was trying to get myself in it, and it was just an obscene sight. But what it does is it encompasses the whole thing, and it gives you a smooth line all the way down. Again, what Katie did and Marks and Sparks have all those bits in stock. Now that we've covered off underwear, which is very easy to cover indeed, I'll give you a recommendation on tights as well. So for my ladies out there that are looking to do a bit of boogieing, that don't want to have that thing, you know, where tights roll down all day, I wear snag tights. Snag tights are amazing, and they go up to around, I think, a size 32 or 34, and they go all the way down to about size 6 to 8. So really everybody can find a pair, and they've got such a high waistband coming just under your bra line that you don't need to worry about them rolling down. They are a godsend. I always wear them. I wouldn't wear anything else. So we've covered off the underwear, we've covered off our tights. Let's talk about outfits, and I'm going to give you a sneak preview of one of mine for Goodwood. This is my first outfit, and this came to me as a bit of a surprise because I hadn't planned this, and I bumped into it in a vintage shop last weekend called the Vintage Retreat in Northamptonshire, and I've bought this from one of my favourite sellers, and I talk about her all the time. It's Angela from Auntie Olive's Attic. She's on Instagram. I've popped a thing in the description box below. Anyway, let me talk to you about this outfit, but also give you some historical context. Now this suit, and it's a two-piece suit with a nice stretchy waistband, which is going to be great for lunchtimes, is made from crimpline. Now crimpline originated from a company called ICI. Now if you are into your classic cars, you'll know all about ICI because they used to make the vehicle paints. And in fact, a really geeky bit of information for you whilst we're doing this video is that the Minor Million was supposed to be a different colour. It wasn't meant to be the lilac that it was chosen. They wanted to go for a gold or a silver, but they couldn't do it because ICI didn't have the paint tech. Now ICI didn't just do paint, they also did fabrics as well, and I'm not really sure what led to them experimenting with different chemicals to create it, but they essentially took threads of plastic yarn and started knitting it together, and this knitted woven fabric got given a name, and it was crimpline, and that is because the ICI factory was in the Crimple Valley, and so that's where the name comes from. And crimpline was used all over the world, and if you've never worn it before, it can feel a little bit strange, but I've been wearing it for years, and so therefore I don't really notice it anymore. But it's quite I would say probably unforgiving for someone that's not used to it. But then again, all I seem to see is fast fashion made of nylon nowadays, so perhaps you'd be more open to it if you gave it a go. And it has a good amount of stretch in it as well, and it can be quite forgiving, which is quite a good thing for me. Now when I was bringing this outfit to life in my head, I thought, how am I going to do it? Because when it was sitting on the coat hanger, no disrespect to Angela at all, it was simply a blue suit. And I thought, what am I going to do with that? But the thing is I'd picked up this brooch the weekend before, and I picked this up from the junk market near my house, and it's quite old. I think the lady said that she thought it was 20s, 30s. I don't think it's that old. I think it's probably more like 40s, 50s, 60s, which is perfect for the Goodwood period, which of course runs from the late 40s through to 1966. And it's a beautiful piece, and it's obviously been handmade, and it was only a few pounds, but it looks like a lovely sprig of little flowers, and it starts bringing some life and colour and that 3D element into the outfit that brings a bit of excitement, because accessories are your biggest friend when you're doing this. Now if you are flailing around a little bit and wondering what you can do, go into any charity shop. There are plenty of suits, dresses that are in this shape. Really you want either an A-line or that sort of fitted shape with sleeves. There are plenty of styles out there, and the next thing is you need to grab a handbag. Now I also got this at the Vintage Retreat, and you might be able to see it at home just there. It's a beautiful beaded design, but I'm going to show you the best bit about it. It's actually, I haven't even taken the price label off yet. I didn't pay that much for it, it was £13. I don't know if you can see that there at home, but it's also got the other side, which is made up of little beads that have little roses on. Now because my outfit is blue and it's plain block colour, I want to keep that block colouring, and that does work really well. And I would say be very careful before you start mixing up lots of different patterns. You can mix fabrics, but mixing patterns, if you're not feeling 100% confident about it can go wrong really, really quickly. So when I go for a block colour like this, I like to keep that uniform blockiness all the way through. Now, no lady was complete in the 1960s without her hat. I mean, a really good style tip actually, as I pop this little hat on, is I'm going to talk to you about one of my favourite style icons from the 1960s, which is actually the dearly departed Queen Elizabeth II. And also Princess Margaret, although I don't think she was actually one of the best people. I think she was a little bit of a saucy minx, and I don't think she treated her staff very well, but she was still an absolute style icon. Another icon actually, if you're into that later 60s, early 70s fashion, is actually Princess Anne, because her outfits are so good. Anyway, coming back to the Queen, I picked this hat because I once saw the Queen wearing a really similar hat in some pictures, a normal thing to say in 2024, and I absolutely loved it. Now, as you pop it on, I'm just going to pop it on over my beehive, so we're just going to have to pop it under there. You'll see that it just brings a bit of playfulness to the outfit. Now with my hair, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking it back and just pinning it all at the back. But today I just wanted to talk to you about the fashion element of it, because that's the bit that people struggle with the most. And it's so easy to do. Now hats like this aren't always readily available. However, my top tip, and I'm going to kick myself for telling you all to do this, is to go into a charity shop, show them a picture of a hat that you really like and see if they've got anything similar, because quite often they will keep certain products out the back for certain seasons, and they will bring it out for spring, summer, autumn, winter. And because we're coming to the end of summer and the end of wedding season, a lot of their hats are put away. Go in and ask, and you might well be surprised. Realistically, you're probably going to be looking at somewhere in that £5 to £15 mark to buy a hat. It doesn't have to be over the top and flowery, but don't wear a fascinator, because that gives the game away that the outfit is far more modern. So we'll whip this hat off, because there's something else that I want to talk to you about. Well, still hats actually. I also want to talk to you about the humble pillbox hat. Now you will have seen lots of people wear little hats like this, and if you watched my video about the Morris Minor breaking down, this might look familiar, because I wore this in February to a wedding. Now this pillbox hat will fit on just on the back. Now it works with this outfit because the buttons are navy, but I don't think I'm going to go for that, because I like a bit of drama to my outfits. But if you like an outfit that's a little bit more demure, go for a little pillbox hat. And these are so easy to get. You can get them in all sorts of charity shops, you can get them second-hand shops, and also don't be frightened to ring your older relatives, because loads of them have treasure hidden away and it's doing no good in their cupboards. You might as well have it and have a good time in it. Now there's one more thing that ladies have in the 40s, 50s and 60s, less so towards the end of the 60s, but it's still a thing for a posh do, is a pair of gloves. Now I wanted to show you, so I've got two pairs of gloves. You've got these navy ones that will go perfectly with a pillbox hat, and these are from my beloved St Michael brand from Marks and Sparks. The quality is absolutely unrivaled. They're a really nice pair of driving gloves actually, because they've got that leather on the back. But again, it's a driving event, so you can wear that sort of thing, and they match the hat absolutely bang on. But I also found these in their charity shop in February, I think it was. They are new old stock St Michael white gloves. Now, as you can see at home there, they are just simple white cuff length gloves. Look, let me show you. Now, if you are looking at gloves online, so there you go, and you're trying to work out what the sizes mean. So if you're looking and it says like a 6 or a 6.5, that's quite small. So if you've got quite dainty hands and they're not like giant meat packers like mine, you can probably get away with a 6 or a 6.5. Whereas if your hands are, I would say, medium sized, you want to be looking for about a 7 in your gloves. That's what these are. So they're branded as a 7 medium. And the navy gloves are a 7 medium as well. If your hands are slightly bigger, you want to be looking for a 7.5 to 8 or anything that's badged as large. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour through the first outfit. Let's move on to day number 2. Okay, so when I said this was outfit number 2, I was slightly bending the truth, because this is one of two potential outfits that could be outfit number 2. And this is where I need your help because I cannot decide which one to go for. And I'm going to tell you the story behind both of them, and then I want you to tell me in the comment section below which one you think will be most appropriate for Goodwood. However, coming back to the subject, we'll start with the hat because how can you miss it? Now, you might have seen this before in some of my other Goodwood videos. It's one of my favourite hats and it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, this is actually called a feather curler cap. These were made because women needed to go out with their rollers in or curlers in, and they didn't want to be seen. It wasn't like it is nowadays where you can just pop out and there's no shame. It was very much seen as something that you didn't really do. You'd wear a headscarf or a hat or something. But these curler caps, because they've got so much stretch in them, look, I'll show you. Can you see? It could fit so many rollers under there. The idea was it gave ladies a bit of a posh edge, but without exposing themselves. But here's the thing, just like a lot of these things, it became a fashion idea in its own right. So a lot of these caps, which started off very demure and not really attention seeking, became bold and bright. And I've got them in blue, purple, pink, green. I love a feather cap. Now, these were made in Eastern Europe from what I can gather from all the labels that are inside them. And so they're just a really nice piece. And with this fabric being the way it is, now I don't know if you can see that at home there, that fabric, you'll see that it's got that magenta woven through the crimpline. And what that means is it means it just picks up from a quite dark suit the standout colour and brings it to life. Now, I have paired this with a green top, and this is where I'm almost on the fence and I don't know what to do with this. And again, this is an item that you can get from really almost every charity shop out there. There are jumpers just like this, and it's such an easy item to find. This one's an original, but you can recreate this look with no trouble at all. Now, what you could do if you didn't fancy wearing a jacket is just get a simple pencil skirt, maybe in a pattern, and match it up with a jumper in a coordinating colour. That's very of the era as well, because something I want to just address is that, number one, I often hear women almost apologising for being bigger than a size 10, and they say, oh, you know, I can't dress vintage. Yes, you can. All the clothes that you see me wear, even at my biggest, are all vintage. And here's the thing, there were a lot of bigger ladies because vintage bigger stuff is relatively easy to find. I've never really struggled to find stuff in my size, even when I was much bigger than a size 20. So that says to me that bigger women did exist, and some of them dressed really well because some of the clothes are absolutely lovely. This particular one is about a modern 14 to 16. So again, not really a super skinny size like we're often led to believe. So there were women of varying sizes, and they often dressed in just quite a normal way, because a lot of people look at people like Marilyn Monroe or Twiggy and think that's how everybody dressed. But your typical woman in Great Britain really didn't dress like that at all. She had a busy life. She was probably running around after multiple children. This was the decade when a lot of women started really going out to work. And so you see a bit of a shift change into very practical outfits. You see a lot of this quick wash fabric. You see a lot of these very sort of easy to wear outfits. So if you are going to recreate this, just a little top, little pencil skirt and some flat shoes, great idea. With that lovely Kelly style box handbag that I showed you earlier. Again, they're 10 a penny in charity shops. You can really find them everywhere. And it's quite an easy outfit to recreate. Now let me show you the next outfit, I guess the opponent to this one and the one that you're going to have to pick between. So this is outfit number 2 that you get to choose from. So you're either going to go for the outfit with the feather hat, or you're going to go for this one. And I'm going to go with whichever outfit you all at home decide that I should wear. So this is one of my oldest vintage pieces, and I have huge emotional attachment to it. I bought it with one of my first paychecks, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see, I've got to be careful without taking the mic off, it's actually a 2-piece suit. Now this is a beautiful crimpling piece, and I feel like you don't see many pieces like this anymore. However, I wanted to show you it because I think it's a really easy look as well for you to all replicate. So if you are looking at this and thinking, well, Steph, how am I going to replicate that myself? My idea is simple. Go into the charity shop or whatever second-hand shop you've got near you and pick out the most beautiful dress, the dress that you like the most, and then go and find a coat in a coordinating colour, and you still got that effect of the two pieces working together in tandem in the same way that you see lots of women doing in the 1960s. You see them matching a pattern coat with a solid colour dress or the other way around, and it's quite a popular trend, and it's something that's so easy to replicate now. So that would be how I would replicate doing this. So this is my second outfit. I always like to keep this one quite plain because the pattern is quite intricate in itself, and I'm pairing it up with this really nice little handbag, which has been to Goodwood before. It went in, according to my paddock pass, 2021. So it's a nice piece of I Drive a Classic history, and I've also left myself a little 60s makeup bag / purse inside, which sadly has no money in. That's a bit of a shame, but well, you can't have everything. So those are the first 2 days. Now I was going to show you my last outfit choice, but I'm going to keep it a secret because one of the themes this year is Western, and I have got the most incredible outfit to pull out. But instead of that, because that's a trouser suit, I thought I'd show you another trouser suit that kind of got pushed by the wayside in exchange for this Western suit, and I'll talk to you about how to wear a decent trouser suit and make it work in a really 60s style. Now this is the outfit that didn't make the grade, which is quite sad really because I do enjoy wearing it, but there were a few different things that factored into my decision not to. Number one, practicality. As the evening goes on and we go into over the road, I knew that I was going to end up really cold because I feel the cold anyway, and I thought without any sleeves it's just going to end up feeling a wee bit chilly. But here's the thing, I wanted to show a trouser suit because A, I am still wearing one, but all the details will be revealed in the final Goodwood video. And number two is a lot of women don't feel comfortable wearing a skirt and they want to go for trousers because that's what they wear in their modern day wear. And the thing is a lot of women in the 60s did wear trousers. This is an original Ladies' Pride two-piece lurex suit, and looking at the cut of it and looking at the fabric and the label, I believe it's probably the tail end of the 60s. I don't think it's as early as the 70s, and I've judged that because of the cut of the trousers. Now if you look at trousers throughout the era and you're looking for something that feels very spot on, what I would suggest doing is, if you want to go for a more streamlined approach, go for that cigarette pant look. Now that was very popular at the end of the 50s, going into the early, almost into the mid 60s. You still see those very tight, slim trousers fitted with maybe that sweater girl look. So you could look for, just again, you can use that sweater that we were talking about, pairing up the pencil skirt. It's a really great alternative. Or you can go for a little blouse. Again, both very easy items to find. And a lot of women already have a pair of cigarette trousers or cigarette pants in their wardrobe. So again, you're just making good of what you've got. But remember, when you're doing it, don't go for these low slung waists, because a lot of people do. And when I say low slung, I'm talking about on the belly button or below it, sitting on your hip. You need it to sit on your waist. And a reminder for those of us that want a clear definition for that is your waist is the smallest part here. So in this outfit, and we'll pan the camera down and show you, I have a belt tied into it. Now I love using a belt because it just brings that silhouette in, and for me, I think it's a lot more flattering, and I think it's a lot more flattering for many of us. And it's a look of the era. You see it through the 50s where you get those wide skirts that are belted at that smallest part, and it's just a very feminine silhouette throughout that 50s and that 60s. Now the 60s is a funny period of time because a lot of people look at those pictures of Carnaby Street and they think that that's what the 60s was. But actually, if you dwell into, or you dive into the history of the time and you look at old family photographs, you look at accounts like, there's an account on Instagram called Sights of the 50s, 60s and 70s, and you look at old family photographs, people weren't over the top like you see in fancy dress shops and in those Carnaby Street photographs. they were very normal looking, and it means that the look is really easy to create. And when you look through those photographs on sites like I've suggested, or Google street scenes 1960s and start looking through, or look at pictures on old historic pages, you soon find that people looked a lot more normal than a lot of these fashion and styling pages suggest, and therefore it can feel a lot less intimidating when you're putting your outfit together. And I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. It's been a massive leap away from what we usually do, but I wanted to share my other passion outside of classic cars, which is of course vintage fashion. I live for it, I collect it, and I have way too much of it, and it's been a real pleasure today to share it with you and talk a little bit about it. Would be good to get your thoughts on this video in the comments section below. If you'd like to see more of this on perhaps a sister channel, if you'd like to see some shorts, or you just prefer us to stay away from fashion and keep it maybe on Instagram. Let me know in the comments section below. Your thoughts are always appreciated, and remember, I want to know what you think. Shall we go for the purple outfit, or shall we go for the pink outfit? What do you think? Let me know. I know where my mind's set, but I want your thoughts too. Now that's it from me. Until next time, take care and drive safely.